So could you introduce yourself?
I'm Gayane. I am Armenian. That's my ethnicity, and I am actually from a place called Azerbaijan. That's where the fighting is actually taking place right now. However, I live in Los Angeles currently, and I've been living in the United States for it's going to be 30 years. This coming January is going to be 30 years that I've lived in the U.S. And the reason that I no longer live over there is because of the initial conflict that started over this very piece of land where the fighting is taking place. This conflict actually began in 1988, and that's when we left. We had no choice. So I live in LA up until the COVID pandemic struck and changed
Yes,
all of our
yes,
lives.
also. Oh,
I I worked in the restaurant and bar industry. I ran a bar uh, for many years. Really successful, really a good time. And unfortunately, that was the industry that was hit the most because of the
yes.
pandemic, because of the interactions with the clientele and the food and the drinks being served. So unfortunately, that is no longer something that I'm doing.
Could you explain to us, from your point of view, what is happening in Armenia right now?
I think what right now is happening is something a lot bigger than what it at first appears. At first, it appears there's a conflict between Armenians living in this piece of land and the Azeri people in Azerbaijan. Um, Azerbaijan claims they want to take their land back. It is within their borders, and the ethnic Armenians who have been living there for hundreds and thousands of years say, no, this is where we're here to stay. We've already fought this war, the Artsakh Liberation War. We won. We have the right to self-determination. And this is something that I witnessed firsthand because I lived in Azerbaijan when it first started. However, I can assure you that this conflict or this war that's happening right now is beyond the issue of Armenia or Armenians in Karabakh, also known as Artsakh, and the Azeri people. I can assure you that it's something beyond that because of the involvement of Turkey, because of the hiring of the Syrian terrorists and deploying them to Azerbaijan and having them basically do the dirty job for them. The involvement of Pakistan. The president of Azerbaijan had met with the president of Pakistan a couple months ago, and now there's word of even the Pakistani terrorists are there united with the others. There's so many different terrorist groups that are right now on ground. They don't really even know what they're fighting for. To them, it's this holy jihad war, and they're just more than willing to kill as many Christians as they want to kill. They don't know the conflict. They don't know the history. They're just there. They're getting paid, by the way. And so if you step back and you look what Turkey has done in the last few years and try to take over all these little parts of their neighboring countries, what they've done in Syria. Turkey occupies 10% of Syria right now. Northern Syria is occupied by Turkey with the disguise of with the guise of I'm going to come and help you, but really I'm going to take advantage of you. They're paying these mercenaries $1,500 a month for 4 months contract to be deployed to Azerbaijan to go fight these essentially, this peaceful population who has been living there peacefully and just trying to survive, surrounded by nations that are dictatorships. You
Yeah.
know, Armenia itself, is a democracy. We had a peaceful Velvet Revolution in 2018, and our prime minister was chosen by the people, Nikol Pashinyan, and
Mm.
he has been doing a great job with trying to get the word out there and what's really going on. I'm sure he hasn't slept, just like all of us. We haven't really slept in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But the issue over Nagorno-Karabakh, Artsakh region, that's technically within the border of Azerbaijan, and that's their only claim to that land because it's technically still recognized as within the borders of Azerbaijan. The only reason it's there is because during the Soviet times, Joseph Stalin, who was a Georgian, he thought it was a strategic move to give this piece of land, which was always occupied predominantly by ethnic Armenian Christians.
Yeah.
He decided that to put it within the border of Azerbaijan, because of course Azerbaijan, Baku, having the oil, having the resources to kind of lure them into the Soviet Union, it is a great
That's
strategic
why.
move. You get a piece of land that nobody really cares about. It's in the mountains. Who cares that 85% of people who living there are ethnic Christian Armenians? We give it to Azerbaijan. And during the time of the Soviet Union, things were under the Soviet control. So nobody really had this like ethnic identity. Yeah, we were Armenians, these were Azeris, these were Jews, these were Russians, but we were all Soviets. You understand? So, but towards the end of the Soviet Union, where this like nationalistic pride came about out of all the republics that were once joined in and they were all Soviet people. Once the nationalistic pride came out and people of this region, Nagorno-Karabakh, Artsakh, realized that, oh no, we cannot be part of Azerbaijan. They're gonna destroy us. They're gonna turn us into Azeris. They're gonna convert us. They're gonna expel us. They're gonna kill us. They voted. They voted, and 82% voter turnout. 99% of the votes were to join with back to Armenia, as it's always been historically, to join back to Armenia. And of course, Azerbaijan said, no, we're not going to give up this land. This war broke out, this initial war, and Azerbaijan lost. They lost, but it was only a ceasefire. It was never the war was never completed. It was just put on hold since 1994. But the people of Nagorno-Karabakh, Artsakh, have been rebuilding, and it's been flourishing. It's been beautiful. I had a plan to go there, first time in my life in July. Finally was ready to go back. I was too scared before. I was traumatized, but I was finally ready to go back and see it, the place where my grandmother was from. And of course, the pandemic changed those plans. And now it's just been completely decimated. But in my opinion, that this old unresolved conflict is merely an excuse for bigger powers, such as Turkey, to put their hand into more and more land, into more and more this Turkish expansionism, this creating this pan-Turkic, this new Ottoman Empire. And he wants Erdogan, this dictator, he's hungry for power. He wants to be the leader of this new Ottoman, this Islamic. And if you just see the map, the little Armenia is just in the way of the to connect. Azerbaijan and Turkey, they consider themselves one nation, two states. Okay, so if you just take away Armenia, if this doesn't exist, it'll just be united. And he's been doing this with in Libya, in Syria, with Greece. With Greece, he's been pissing off the Greece in the drilling in Greek waters for oil. You know, now there's the situation in Cyprus, and let's not forget that Turkey has been occupying half of Cyprus illegally since I believe 1974. You know, so and now this is all kinds of stuff going on, and it's very clear to the world, I think, that the issue is not just a simple Armenian and Artsakh and Azerbaijan, that the issue is so much more. And now we're not fighting the same war we did 30 years ago. Now we have 21st century modern weaponry. Azerbaijan signed a deal in 2016 with Israel, buying these F-16s, all kinds of modern, weapons from Israel. And they know damn well that this is going to be used to annihilate Armenian population. But this is what's been happening. So there's all these external elements involved, trying to get Russia to join the war, because Russia is kind of by treaty supposed to protect Armenia. So if Russia joins in, then Turkey joins in. Turkey's NATO, then NATO's joining in. Who else is not? The UK, the US. And this is what's so troubling, is that all these bigger powers supporting Turkey, because Turkey and its connection to Azerbaijan and the pipeline that runs from Baku to Tbilisi, Georgia, to Ceyhan, Turkey, providing Europe with all this energy. It's a huge issue, Yeah. Who do we side with? Some tiny little Armenian group who nobody really cares about, doesn't really have anything the world could benefit from as far as resources or anything like that, or do we go with the superpowers that, and unfortunately the world leaders, as of now, Armenians in Nagorno-Karabakh. Because technically Armenia itself, the nation of Armenia, the Democratic Republic of Armenia, is not involved in the war necessarily. It's so far been this enclave within internationally recognized borders of Azerbaijan. So it's really been this Artsakh Defense Army versus Azerbaijan, Turkey, Syrian rebels, all kinds of terrorist groups. So, but who are they getting support from? Nobody. Nobody. The world. Putin said there should be ceasefire. Your guys' president Macron said there should be ceasefire. This should be solved diplomatically. But Erdogan said, I quite frankly don't care what you say. We're going to continue, and we're gonna finish this off. And all Armenians throughout the world have the same resonating opinion that they are back 105 years later. Turkey's back 105 years later in the Caucasus to finish off what they started in 1915, to finish off the Armenians. We're all convinced of that. I think I don't think Armenians in LA feel helpless. By the way, Armenians in Los Angeles make up the largest population of Armenians outside of Armenia. So we have a very huge Armenian community here. Oh, I think almost 1 million. I'm not sure how many. Don't quote me on that. But there's a huge population of Armenians in the LA region. And there's been quite many gatherings on the street, marches. There's a march happening today to the Turkish consulate. I will be a part of it. We've been rallying outside of the CNN news building, LA Times, to make sure that it's covered properly, that you cannot just say that this is a mutual war and this is a straight up attack, unprovoked, on civilians with the use of illegal weapons like cluster bombs. These nations are like Azerbaijan, Turkey. They're committing war crimes. It's a humanitarian crisis. So what Armenians are doing, number one, is to spread awareness, because the Azeris, they're having this war funded for them, right? It's already, they're using their money to fight this war on the cyber level. So there's this huge amount of hate going on, spreading of hate from the Azeris and Turks towards the Armenian people. Like, we need to wipe them out and everything like that. So the number one thing that Armenians are doing here in LA is to spread awareness of what's going on, that this is a humanitarian crisis, that this is a genocide in the making currently, right now, in 2020.
In 2020. And in this COVID-19 situation, this is crazy.
Yes, the last thing the world needs.
Yeah.
And so, and another thing is they donate. Been donating to Armenia Fund. There's different funds, because it's not such a rich country, and we can't keep this up for too long.
Yeah.
And support them in all sorts of ways. Medical supply, food. I don't know. Okay,
Yeah.
so the donations have been signing petitions, reaching out to members of Congress in the U.S. for the leaders who have some kind of impact, for them to speak up, for them not to ignore, despite U.S. having a great relationship with Turkey and reliance on Turkey and all the things they get from Turkey. Come on, we are talking about human lives on both sides, even if they're brainwashed terrorists. Think that they are doing a great thing. They don't care about life. They have paradise waiting for them shortly after they kill a bunch of Christians. Still, we don't want casualties. We need to stop this. And this is the thing, it's turning. It looks like it's turning into the next Syria. That this little area of conflict is just an excuse to just kick off something so much bigger.
Artists like Serj Tankian, Devran Malakian have always pointed out in their music the various societal problems and war, genocide. So can we say that music is an essential tool to denounce these injustices?
System of a Down always used from the beginning in the mid 90s. They've always used music as a platform to reach the different people and to spread the message of what has been happening and the importance of recognizing the genocide that happened a century ago, and to make sure it doesn't happen again. We all Armenians knew in the back of our mind that this is a possibility, that this will eventually
Oh,
continue. And this
yeah.
and Serge and the rest of the System of a Down have always been very vocal about it, and bravo to them. But yes, music has always been, particularly with bands like that. Uh,
Yeah.
not all music, certainly not the Cardi B's of the world, right?
Yes.
But this kind of music, particularly metal, um, and especially System of a Down when it comes to the issue of the Armenian uh, plight, they have been very vocal about it. And yes, music can definitely be uh, such a great tool to put the message to the
Mm-hmm.
people, to have people listen. And I think people have. Many people learned, oh, who are the Armenians? Oh, like System of a Down. Yeah, okay. They learned about the people of who the Armenians are through their
Yeah,
music.
sure.
That I think they reacted they were very thankful that she did that, and it's very important for her because she has a great reach, not just like Serge, just to the metal community, the music community.
Yeah.
She uh, she has so much popularity. She has so much voice, and anybody who can reach so many people on Twitter, on Facebook, on any social platform, in this case, should definitely be doing so. Not only if they are Armenian, but anyone who is concerned for just the for for humanity's sake. Anybody who has that kind of opportunity to reach a great amount of people, they should be doing so um, right now. Absolutely. And she did that, and we're very thankful to her. And she also donated $1 million.
So we have the impression that the mistakes of the past are repeated over and over again today in 2020. And with this pandemic situation, how can we start a war again?
And it's very unbalanced, because we have, on one side we have the Armenians who are, a democratic people. They have been very transparent. Um, and then we have the Azeris who have completely blocked internet for their country, by the way. So there's no information going in and out. We only have this, the last 30 years since the ceasefire, the original ceasefire, we have this hatred that's being taught since kindergarten. If you see the kindergarten in Azerbaijan, how they teach them from an early age, they condition them, they train them to have this kind of hatred towards their. Nobody's born with this kind of hate. No one's
No,
just
no.
wake up and want to go cut up bodies for fun. Well, maybe if you're a sociopath, some kind of
Yeah.
a psycho, a general person, general healthy person doesn't just end up like that. This is years and years of conditioning from an early age. So this is what's happening. They don't have internet. They only have what's being shown to them by the Azeri television. They're not really letting any journalists in. I was watching France 24. There was some journalist there, and she made it very clear what kind of conditions they're working under. They can't just interview whoever they want. They're being escorted. They're being told who they can talk to. They're being told what they can ask.
Yeah.
And she made it very clear, just so you know, we don't really have any freedom of press here. So we have that side, and then we have the Armenian side, where it's like, please come see what's been happening here.
Yeah.
So at some point, and the only thing that's coming out of the Azeri side is this propaganda, these fake photos that are being posted, these fake claims that the Armenians started it. Our poor Armenians in these villages and this little enclave started a war. For what reason? They're the ones that want to take the land. So and then a regular person that's just looking at this, like a quick 2 seconds looking at the news, it's very hard to decipher. Very hard to decipher at first what's true, what's not true. Is this just like a conflict, a war, or is it really pre-planned, execution of an entire group of
Right.
people?
Right.
They are determined to either expel or destroy it, and any traces of their civilization. Check out the historical church that's being bombed. There's no military anywhere near that church. It's in some mountain over there, you know. So this just complete wiping out of people, their culture, their historical
Yeah,
monuments.
yeah. It's genocide.
It's genocide. And
Yeah.
what they're putting forward is just like, oh, we're the victim. They're attacking us. They're occupying our land. It's like, no, 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 that's not how it works.
No.
So it's a lot. It's a dirty game. It's a very
Yeah.
dirty. And what's dirty is that you can expect that from dictators, but then the rest of the civilized world is sitting back quietly.
This is not normal.
That's not right. So what does the rest of the civilized world have to gain? And the regular person may not know, but I'm sure the leaders know. So the leaders have something to gain, and that's why the silence from the leaders. So at this point, it is so important that for the regular human, regular civilized, the regular person from the civilized world that wants peace, not just there, but everywhere, needs to speak up and say, this needs to end.
Yeah.
The dictators cannot just be spreading their powers and wiping off an entire group of ancient peoples who are essentially indigenous to that land. You cannot just because you are hungry for power. And that's so important, because the Armenian people, even with the Armenians all over the world, the diaspora, a very small group.
Yeah.
We are so outnumbered, you know. So that's why it's so important for everybody to be involved. Sure. We have, so on one side we have these nations, Azerbaijan and Turkey, who are just hiring these radical terrorists to go do their job for them. And on the other side, we have people who are volunteering, who don't have to even be there, who come from other parts of the world, who come from LA. We have a doctor here, the doctor that you saw, I believe it was the foot doctor that was there in LA. He's friends with my friends. He's left his family to go. And he said he's like, is it hard for you to be here? He's like, no, the hardest thing was to tell my wife and kids that I'm going to go help some other kids over there. So the bravery is just astonishing, because we have been mistreated by these peoples for so long that it's just, we've had moments of relative peace for the past 27 years, and all we want is to continue that peace, you know, and to see this kind of pre-planned, determined, execution is, we cannot stand it. So I believe right now, every Armenian throughout the world is feeling that the war is not only there, but the war is on them. I feel the war is on me, indirectly, but I feel it deeply. It's on me. And if I didn't have a family, I would go. I mean, I can't fight, but I would do something to volunteer if I could, and maybe I will if it gets even worse. I think, and everybody's feeling that right now. It's a horrific feeling. Nothing we've ever been prepared for, anything like that. It wasn't our choice, but this is where we are right now. And every single Armenian is trying to do whatever they can, whether it's to spread the word that we just want peace, or physically go and assist any way we can. And yet the bravery of those young boys and girls is just unbelievable. Unbelievable.
In your opinion, how can we help today?
What
can we do today?
The only solution to this mess is to recognize this little piece of land, Artsakh, also known as Nagorno-Karabakh, as independent. That's the number one solution, because the reason that this whole excuse of a fight that's happening, excuse of a war, is that Azerbaijan says it is within our borders. Well, frankly, it was borders during the Soviet Union. The Soviets gave it to you. Stalin gave it to you for whatever his personal gain that he had from your country. It was never a part of independent country of Azerbaijan. So it needs to be recognized as an ancient historical Armenian land. Those people have the right to self-determination, that they voted, they established their independence, and we need to recognize that. And we cannot let these dictators get away with yet another genocide. And that's what a lot of the congressmen here in America are trying. Not a lot, a few, but it's starting to gain momentum. To gain momentum that yes, we need to recognize it, and we need to do it immediately before this unfolds into something so much bigger that we won't be able to ignore anymore.
Yeah.
It's going to threaten the safety of that region, but the global safety.
Yeah.